Thank you for tuning in to Broken Brilliance, featuring entrepreneurs, professionals, community leaders, and other successful individuals from all walks of life that had to be broken, crushed, or stripped down to the studs to excel beyond measure and brilliantly rise up and walk in their purpose. Learn what is really real. Receive tips, tools, and resources you can use today so that you, too, can be brilliantly broken.
Welcome, and welcome to the inaugural season of the Broken Brilliance podcast. Come on in and take a seat. In fact, get comfortable. My name is Tawanda Livingston, and I will be your guide for your Broken Brilliance journey. I am humbled and honored to bring to you this season stories, testimonies, praise reports, resources, and gems of greatness that will activate the wealth warrior in you, the success savage in you, or the prosperous prophet in you. These comeback stories are from folks that looked failure in the eye and said, give it your best shot, because I refuse to go back to where I was. I refuse to worry about where I am going, and I am determined not to stand still in silence. These individual stories that you will get to hear and hopefully learn from are from waymakers, border walkers. These individuals have successfully turned their casualties into catalysts of courage, their pain into purpose, and even turning devastations to destiny-building successes. These individuals refuse to be disturbed, distracted, or disrupted, because what was on the other side of their challenges, failures, losses, and sufferings that they had to face was their possibilities, their endless possibilities, their endless success, their destiny, prosperity, and life-giving and sustaining purpose. So if you are ready and aspire to be great, if you are inspired to achieve, conquer, or dominate in life or in business, or if you are motivated to move differently in life, move with expectation, and leave a legacy of greatness from the womb to the tomb, my friends, you are tuning into the right podcast. So you too can be brilliantly broken. So it gives me great pleasure, and I'm humbled and honored to introduce you today to our speaker. Dr. Remi is a global inspiration to women and girls and is a source of profound inspiration for myself. Dr. Remi is a seasoned mentor, business owner, and an influence strategist who is passionate about helping people maximize their potential. Dr. Remi has excelled in corporate America, and she is a successful serial entrepreneur with intentional impact. Dr. Remi is a certified trainer, speaker, and coach. She is also a Les Brown Platinum speaker. She is an author of the book entitled Perseverance, The Winning Key to Your Destiny. Currently, Dr. Remi serves as a commissioner in the great state of Maryland. She sits on several local and international boards in influential capacities. She is a member of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women and other notable organizations. As a serial entrepreneur with social impact, she doubles up as president and CEO of Image Consulting Group and founder of Legacy Premier Foundation in the U.S. Dr. Remi is also the host of a very popular Instagram live show, so make sure you tune in, and it's under her brand Remi Speak platform. So join me in welcoming Dr. Remi. I am so humbled and honored to have you here on Broken Brilliance this evening. We are so grateful for your time.
Thank you so very much, Tawanda. I'm so honored to be on your show. You are one of those people that inspire us, one of those people that serve diligently in the community, and you serve with all your heart without worrying who you're serving. And that is exactly why I'm so excited that you have this podcast. And the title could not have been any better, Broken Brilliance. And that's what we are. That's who we are. That's the story of most of our lives. Once upon a time, there was a 17-year-old that migrated to the United States of America in quest of education. And, of course, still here ever after. This is some 30-something years ago. And, of course, being here, it's been a journey that has been some days broken, some days brilliant. But one thing that has remained consistent and constant is the ability to push for that brilliance. Because guess what, Tawanda? No one can stop you unless you allow them. So in my case, people tried as much as they wanted to have that stoppage in where God was taking me, but I didn't let them. That's why the 4 stripes, black, female, Nigerian accent, I remain unstoppable until today, because I found the secret to being unstoppable is just working, serving, keep serving, earning, returning, serving, earning, returning. That's what is the secret. And when you do that, the disruptors, the distractors cannot break your brilliance. So I don't know who is hearing us right now and wondering what is going on with all of this pandemic and everything. Guess what? You've got the brilliance. The brokenness is there, but the brilliance will overshadow the brokenness. Just believe in yourself and your faith. Whatever your faith is, this is the best time to exhibit that faith, because without that faith, there will be crisis. But with that faith in God, and for me, it's God Almighty. For you, it could be anyone. No, I'm not being judgmental, but whoever your Almighty is, you better be holding on to them right now, so that brilliance will come up, because that's what it's all about. The brilliance is there, brothers and sisters, and we're going to get it, and we're going to get through this and make it something that we will all have a testimony out of this test that we're going through.
Absolutely, absolutely. What a powerful gems of greatness that you've shared with the audience so far, Dr. Remi, and I really appreciate it. Absolutely. The one thing that human beings possess that keeps them motivated and keeps them going is the will to survive, the faith, the belief, the desire, the purpose, and being focused on that purpose, in that hope, and walking in that faith, you will definitely reach your destiny. And you're a true testament of that, Dr. Remi. Of all the challenges you face, I can't imagine being a 17-year-old girl trying to migrate and navigate her way in the United States. So tell us a little bit more about how that journey started for you at 17 years old.
Sure. Thank you very much. Like I said, a 17-year-old that migrated in quest of education. One thing that my culture is noted for is education. So wherever you will get the education, your parents will bless you and send you forth to get it and return. But in my case, there's no return yet. I'm still here, and we're making God proud. But the journey started with me being here, knowing that I came for a purpose. And that's why your show is so on point. You've got to know your purpose. I knew one singular purpose of my coming to the United States of America was to get educated, and to get educated in a first-rated level with my MBA. And I did just that. And right after that was done, of course, it took some 5 years to do, and we realized that, wait a minute, this is home too. We can make this home. And I went to look for a job after an MBA. I knew growing up, I wanted to be a banker. And the reason for that, Tawanda, is because I love how professional bankers look in my home country, Nigeria. I mean, they always look all decked up, and people will always be smiling after they've had them, after they've counseled their customers. So I love the way they bring smiles to some of the clients when they leave their desk, even if they come angry, and how they looked all pretty and professional. So growing up, that's been an image in my head. So as soon as I graduated with an MBA in finance, I figured finance, banking, that's related. And, of course, I didn't have any work experience. Going to school thinking, I'm going to graduate and go back home. So we were not that smart to say work-life balance, where you can have internship and take advantage of all of those things. So it was strictly just going to school, getting the education so one can return. But without the experience, it was now hard to get into the workforce. But you know me, I was just ready to get my foot into the door, because I knew once I get my foot into the door, the greatness of God in me will shine. There was no brainer. I have the education, I have the heart, the humble heart, and I was willing to learn. And that's what I did, and started in and got in as a teller with an MBA. And it took them less than 6 months to realize, like, wait a minute, This is not a telematerial we have here. And guess what? They were watching me. The camera was on me. Remember my fourth stripe, black, female, Nigerian accent. But everybody else, they went watching, were doing their own thing, and they were just watching. Later, they realized watching me was a waste of their time, and they started watching others who truly were there. I had a purpose. That's why your show is so significant. If you're living this life without a purpose, please, you need to stop and think and find a way to know your purpose. I knew my purpose wasn't just to play around. I wasn't there to get smart over anything. I was going to be a vice president of a bank because I have an MBA, which is a rightful title that I can earn. But I had to go from the bottom of the bottom because I didn't have a work experience. And so all of that, as soon as I got my foot into the door, started doing whatever I needed to do and giving myself permission to serve others. I will finish my teller line. I'll ask those who were customer service, may I help you? Guess what I was doing? I was giving myself permission to learn from others. Even though they didn't know where I was going, I figured if I'm going to start from the bottom up, I better know all the functionalities in the banking, retail banking. So when I get up there, which I knew I was going to get up, I didn't know how soon or when, that I would be able to have a feeling for every role on people that I will be that will be working under me, and that's what I did. And it never failed. Crossed over, asked, can I help you? And I'm asking, can I help you? Like I know what I'm doing. You are showing me what I can do. And before you know it, I was being cross-trained to be able to run the teller line, run the customer service. So I became very valuable, extremely valuable. And once they saw that, and the customers, of course, they loved me because I was there to serve. I knew my purpose. So all I wanted to do was to just serve and to look my part. This, Remi, you're dressing too much for the building because the teller doesn't need to be all suited up. But I went and used my $500 card and go to Woody's, the good old Woody's in those days. I don't know if you remember. That's where I went and did my shopping because, bankers, they were all in suits where I came from.
A certain image. There was a certain image that came along with being a banker. And I believe in dressing for the job you want, not necessarily the job that you're in.
Thank you.
So,
I wish you were there to help me tell those people who thought, she's dressing too much for the building. I was dressing for the future, for where I was going. And it never failed by the grace of God. It never did because they saw it. Got into the management trainee program for a year. That was the number one best time of my life. Being around the power brokers, the powers to be, the wannabes, the bees, the golfers, all of these people who were shaping and molding us to be the best. And I was a minority, quadruple minority.
Right. Minority.
It's not just minority 4 times. Yes. With my accent, I still had to show up and be able to communicate. And I was not a communicator then. I just never liked to speak. My fear has turned to my passion. I realized people could not tell my story when I was in corporate America. And I knew as I was rising up, my voice is needed because I'm leading. I have to be able to present. So I realized that I couldn't tell my own story. And people who couldn't do the work were the first to raise their hand and talk about what I did. And the holy anger came to Wanda. So I went and got trained. First, I started with the Carnegie training, went there for a whole semester, like 8 weeks. I call it a semester. It's not a school, but it's the Carnegie training. Right. And that's where I broke my fear and then took it over to Les Brown and a few others because there's power in your voice.
Yeah,
and I knew my voice has to be heard. And I tell people I was never a speaker. I was never someone who liked to talk because I was given everything I needed growing up. I mean, we didn't have everything, but they made sure that whatever I needed was given. So I didn't know how to ask for anything because the baby was the family. Everybody naturally figured that, okay, they need to give you something. So, but when I got to America and I was in corporate America especially, I realized you better have your voice, girlfriend. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get to that glass ceiling you were going to. So that's been a journey, and it's excitedly talking about it now sounds exciting, but it was not an easy journey. It was
absolutely
very, very painful. There were days that I would be like, what is going on? Customers would come. Some of them would be very rude. And they could go and use curse words and say, go back to your mother, you know what. And then you're wondering, what did I just do to deserve this? But the grace of God, I look over to my children's pictures and say, wait a minute, these babies are still babies. I got me some 20 years before they're free. So I would just
absolutely. So, and I think that God is preparing you when you are facing challenges like that, when you are facing impossible customers or toxic workplaces and people. I think it is God honing you and perfecting you in the fire, so that when you do get to that position that you desire, you'll be ready. He's preparing you for the position that the calling that's on your life, while, to go through those challenges. He's helping you to build your emotional muscle so that you can have the mental and emotional and spiritual fortitude to overcome what you will face when you get to that position in your career or your business. And I would also like to say that listening to your story, I see the connection of it all is that, you connected education to always being in a continuous learning mode and seeking out more training to hone your knowledge, skills, and build abilities and talents. But you also coupled that with ambition, the desire, the ambition to excel. You knew that when you went into that bank, that was your stepping stone position. That was going to be your playground, not your burial ground. And that's what makes your story so powerful, because in doing that, what it did was it opened up the ability to access resources and people, to be in a room with power players, to also position you to be at the table to make decisions and help shape organizations. Your story from your journey as a 17-year-old girl migrating and navigating the educational system here in the U.S. and corporate America is a powerful story. But the beauty of your story lies in the place where your ability ended and God's grace began. Because God's grace has shined all over your life. And as a result, I have the privilege and I'm humble to know such a woman of your caliber.
Wow, thank you so much. That's coming from you, because I know you're a powerhouse too, and you're connected with powerhouses all around. So I take that as a compliment, and even just being invited to your show, it's a privilege, it's a compliment, because I've met you at your powerhouse places, and you've helped me through some things, and you just treat everybody the same. And one thing you said that jumped at me, the emotional muscle. That is what was being developed. And I had a boss, and I'll be quiet. There was a boss I had who, when I was still very young in my 20s in corporate America, I thought he was so hard on me, Tawanda, but I didn't know God was using him to really shape me. He probably saw the future before I saw it. So he would go, oh, you need to read a book on emotional intelligence. So the first time he said it, I felt hurt. I'm like, I'm not crying. Why is he saying that? Because I'm young. I never heard of that word as a book. Now you're telling me to read a book when I just, aced all the reviews, and you said I'm doing well. Yes. I didn't know what it meant. Then he said, okay, go read the book. And, me wanting to learn, I said, let me go read the book. So I went and he said, go get this book, Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. I thought he said Goleman, so I couldn't find the book. And I said, Tom, I can't find this book. He said, what book? He said, it's Goleman. So he gave me the book. That book has been next to my Bible till today, because that book is what developed my emotional muscle. So when people think they have a plan, a plot against me or what I'm doing, they can't. It's just like a waste of time for me, because I know how to manage my emotions, and that book and my experiences have helped me to manage others. So you can never get into a feud with me, because I'm always one step ahead, because it's God's work. My banking experience was God's assignment. And I say that I don't want to mention pastors who were my clients for confidentiality. Growing up in corporate America, most of the pastors in this area, they know me by name. Some are no longer. They've gone to glory, but they were there to support me. They took me as their own because they saw a black girl who was doing it, and they would bring me relationships so that I can meet my goals. They would do transactions through me, and then I went to the premier banking, which is like the top-notch area of the bank, to be able to deal with the high net worth people. So all I had were majority pastors in this area, in my county, Prince George's County.
Yes.
And most of my colleagues didn't really want pastors. They wanted the big name, like the Mel Schneiders and all of that.
Yeah.
The kind of people. So I was in Prince George's, and I wanted my own, and they helped me big time. And up till today, some of them, they know me by name if I knock on the door. So I saw it as a ministry for me, because I would go to their homes, I would go to their churches, I would go on Sunday to see creative things that the bank can do for them. And at the same time, I'm meeting my goals. So on Sunday, I'm back from my own church, and I'm out there, finding how can we come and help your church open accounts, meet you for convenience. So all of that built me, built my character, built my personality, and it built that emotional muscle that you were just saying, and it strengthened me like nobody, nothing can really shake me that would make me feel like the end of the world, because I know I have a greater God who is almighty by himself, and he needs no man or woman to help him, but I have to be in alignment. And he says he will prosper your handwork, not who you know. So I'm constantly reminded that it's not who I know he's going to prosper. It's what I know and what is in my hand. So I'm constantly having an urgency to have work in my hand that will be of impact, not work for me personally that will put food on my table, but work that is beyond me. So that the people of God can be blessed. So I see myself as a ministry in my own little space, to want to die empty, to share what God has enabled me as a foreigner, as someone with those stripes I described, to enjoy. If I tell you things and places that the Lord has allowed me to sit and be part of, even locally and globally. Some days I'm like, I thank God they don't check your bank account and check all your assets before you become eligible.
I know that's right.
I would laugh to myself like, God is just almighty. But go there, you show up, you serve, and that's all that I do, just to see how can we inspire others. So anyone listening to us, I beg of you, this is a show you definitely don't ever want to miss. You might be broken now. I've been there. I've been there, not just once, twice, 3 times. I've been there. But even when I thought I was broken, no one could notice that, because the grace of God enables me. So nobody ever can tell if I'm down or up or whatever, except myself and those who are close to me. Even my family members sometimes wonder how I constantly go on and on. Because it's
go on. And that's because you have a calling.
It's not me.
Only few are chosen, and you have been chosen. And it's an assignment on your life. And you're fulfilling that. And although you state that you're a foreigner, but in God's house, you're not a foreigner. You are always his daughter. And he's going to make sure what everybody thought was meant for you for bad, he's going to turn it into good. And you have proven that time and time again, that you are unstoppable because of who is in your corner. He's already at your destination waiting for you. And he is pushing and pulling you to that destination. That's what makes it so powerful. So speaking of emotional muscle, it reminded me when you were sharing your story, Dr. Remi, that in my career, I had it was a white male. I had this assignment. I was at the top of my game. I was one of those high potential individuals in the workplace. And so one day he called me in the morning to give me some feedback. Oh, my gosh. It shattered me, his feedback. And I took it as this white male saying, look, you know, little ghetto girl, you think you all that, but you're not, and this is why, blah, 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 blah. That's what my filters heard. But as I reflect on that feedback I received, it was gems of wisdom. It was something being deposited into me that, again, my young mind was not ready to receive, but there's wisdom at the crossroads. And trust and believe me, I came back, I broke down, I cried, and I boo-hooed about, oh my gosh, what have I done, blah, blah, blah. And then someone introduced me to emotional intelligence. So what that did was it helped me to heal that brokenness in me, because I was carrying this chip on my shoulder that, coming from meager means in North Philadelphia and a single mother and things of that nature, that I had something to prove. And because I had to prove, I was going to be the best at everything. I wanted to do everything perfect. And I put that in quotes because only God is perfect. But I was going to excel no matter what. And here was this white male telling me I did not do something correctly, and I could not receive that feedback. It was at that particular point in my career that I was introduced into emotional intelligence, and also that now as I reflect on it, it was God's way of building my emotional strength and my emotional muscle. He was refining me. He was putting me in the fire because he wants to test me to make sure that I'm ready to level up to the next level.
Absolutely. I mean, you could not have said it more beautiful. Like I said, the manager who I thought started to pick on me, which was not a pick on, it was more like shape up kind of, seeing something I didn't see, ended up being one of my best leaders, because he saw he was just my cheerleader and knew I was a hard-working girl. And for our listeners, what I want them to understand is you have to remember your values. Because if you don't know your values, all of these things we're saying will be difficult, because then everybody will want to define what your values should be. Your values is whatever you choose. For me, integrity was important, and honesty was important, and making sure that I didn't feel like I was, less than anyone. If I asked questions, I knew my lane. I knew my lane in banking. I would go and serve and be, can I help you with the registration table? Even as a vice president, I would go to golf tournaments because I knew my lane. But I knew I needed to get to other lanes through service. And I'm not a doctor, but I would go to tournaments with doctors, but they are also my clients, potential clients. So with the book and with God guiding me, I was able to decipher. So it made my work easier in the corporate setting. It made my ability to meet my goals, because if you don't meet your goal, you can forget it. That's the bottom line. If you can't meet your sales goals and you can't be a service genius whereby nobody complains, then you don't really have a job. But those things I knew with my stripes, I had to go extra.
And until we are able to see ourselves as God sees us, we are undervaluing ourselves. Because that's the true value. That's the true greatness. That's the true reward and award for living this life. But until we're able to see it the way He sees it, and able to see us the way He sees us, trust and believe me, we really, truly do not know the value we have on our value of our life and the impact that we can possibly have. For me, there's nothing impossible on this side of heaven. I think everything is possible on this side of heaven. It's just that people need to see that potential. They need to see those possibilities. They need to believe it to be so already. Yeah. And the one powerful thing that you keep on stating, Dr. Remi, is the ability to serve, to give, to help. It's not about a dog-eat-dog world like America business world will teach you, this is a dog-eat-dog world. No, because if COVID taught us anything, is that we're all mutually dependent on each other. We all rise by lifting others. That's the only way that we will be able to sustain our human race, is to be able to help and serve one another unconditionally.
Yeah, and the way you just said it, you summarized it very well, because even when I was in corporate America, they don't expect that you will be going to help somebody's event on Saturday and Sunday. That was not a mandate. That was by choice. But I chose that because I knew that it's a win-win. I get to develop, because I love people. I love to help people. And then I would want to get out into the space. I mean, they can't all come to the branch or to my office, but when they have an event, That helps to get to know them on a personal level, on a more relaxed level, and then you meet other people. So
that's correct.
That really was that they don't teach you that. If you just, oh, Remi, you're going again for this tournament. Oh, I got my family time. I'm thinking I got 2 kids, maybe 3 then. I mean, some of them didn't have but 1 or none.
People don't see the value, Dr. Remi, of connecting with people on a different level. It helps to build this unbreakable trust. In this loyalty. When you connect with people at a different level, you work with them in the workplace, they are bound, whether good, bad, or indifferent, by titles and offices and cubicles and those things. But when you connect with them on a social volunteer effort or some other effort to get to know that person, what matters to them, it's an investment worth taking, because the return on investment is immeasurable, if I can say. Because then, once you know that person, then when they come back to work, they're now motivated because they know you as a leader, and they're willing to give you 500%, 1,000% of themselves, because you care about them and what's important to them.
Yeah, and they want you to be even more successful than you want for yourself.
Cheerleaders, absolutely.
They want you to be successful. So if there are needs, if you're short of your goals or things that you think you're not hitting, you begin to let them know. Guess what? I have sales goals. I got to meet some 10 million for the next 2 months. Some of them will bring their relationship from another bank so that I can meet my goals. So all I have to do when I was short of my goals was to call. But it didn't happen just like that. It happened after I constantly volunteered strategically to help them. And they saw that, oh, this is a young lady that really want to help the community, help us. So they would do so many things to make sure that I was successful. And you have to take personal responsibility for your life. And that's just straight up what people need to do. No need to be pointing fingers or thinking about what happened so many years ago that you can't change. What are you going to do now? And just leave everything else that you cannot do to God, and pray for God to cleanse your heart, our heart, so that we are able to move on. And that's what I did. For me, left the bank. I mean, I'm thinking, you're already a vice president. You've shattered the glass ceiling. Why are you leaving? I left. My goal was to see how I can start a bank, because I've been playing musical chairs, going from one place to the other, retail, commercial, business. So I'm like, okay, what else can I do? But I left and started my own mortgage brokerage firm. And during the meltdown, that was where I got another shock of my life. That was the first time everything I had was flat. I didn't know that the mortgage industry was suffering a meltdown. I thought it was just a slowdown. And because I'm in my young age, I still can work, so I dipped into my 401k, trying to stimulate my business to stay afloat. But I didn't know that it was a total economic meltdown. I know, go figure, why will I miss that? But I missed it. But my point is, rather than feeling sorry for myself, and when I even tried to, the Lord said, don't feel sorry for you. Have what you need to rebound. She said, what you need, you have it in your hand. Immediately, I was obedient. Like, keep serving. Keep doing what you need to do. Because you're feeling sorry for yourself about what you've lost is not going to move you. What is going to move you is just that heart of inspiration, because that's your assignment, to inspire, to make people to continue to live, not to make them feel like, oh, the world is coming to an end. And I knew my assignment. So the Lord gave me that spirit of continuity with energy. You would never know unless I told you. You wouldn't. And I'm talking about the past 5-6 years. You would never know that anything happened unless now that I'm talking about it. Number one, I do not like people feeling sorry for me, because what is your sorry going to do for me? So rather than telling you when I need sorrow, I don't tell you. I just talk about it when the storm is over, not because I'm hiding it. What are you going to do about me losing my 401k that's close to $1 million? Give me back the money?
You know what? It's healing in talking about it. And believe it or not, what you went through was not just about you, Dr. Remi. It was about the people you're going to help with telling the story. Because someone somewhere is going to hear this story of how you made the comeback, of how everything was going to pot, but you were able to rise up out of that fire like a phoenix and use your story as a roadmap so that they can get to their destiny. So, yes, you went through that, and we're happy that you're on the other side of that. But more importantly, we're happy that you have the courage to come to the table and to talk about this story so that others can learn from your wisdom.
Thank you. And that's what it's all about. We've got to share our stories, especially the ones we've lived. If we've lived a story, whether the ending is not good or bad, we still need to share it to forewarn other people who maybe might want to go in that journey. For our emerging leaders, they are going through a lot of changes right now, things that they didn't expect is happening. So we want to also use that as a way to encourage them. Build networks. And that was what I did as a young, build networks that you can call due. And if you don't sow into that network, you're not going to be able to call what you haven't sold into. I mean,
that's correct.
And when I say sow into, it's not about money. It's about your commitment. If
that's
you need to make a phone call for someone, if you promise, show up. If you can't do it, please say no. And rather than say yes and not show up. So you're building your integrity.
You can't withdraw from an overdrawn bank account. You have to make those emotional deposits. They may not serve you today, but you'll never know when you need to call upon those reserves, which is your network. And like you said, it's not about money. It's about knowledge, skills, abilities, wisdoms. People are willing to invest in you and to share what they learn because you've made some deposits in their emotional bank account at some point in your career. It's not about take. It's really about give. Because the more you sow, the more you're able to reap. So, again, I think that's a powerful statement about network. And I think people underutilize their network. You know, I always say your network does determine your net worth, and that is because the power, the strength, the capacity, the scalability of your network will determine your rise. So you need to sow into your network so that not only will you rise in prosperity, there's more than just money and being wealthy, right? You'll be wealthy in mind, body, soul, and spirit, and also assets.
Absolutely. All of those things will be right there. And we should always choose love, always. And when I say love, I'm not saying, go and hug at somebody. Now we can't even hug anybody. But let your heart be clean that if you can't help them, that you're not trying to pull them down.
That's correct.
What you cannot allow to be done to you, don't even think it to do to others. Because when you do that, it will slow your progress. You might think you're slowing that other individual, but no, you're not, because they're on their own assignment, and they know what they're doing because they're anchored to someone greater than you who think you're the powerful. And you just need to understand that, listen, mind your lane and do whatever that you need to do to do your part, and don't worry about wishing anybody bad. I know wishes are there. You might say, I'm always smiling. Don't do the fake smiles. If you constantly do that, you're going to be hurting yourself.
You're hurting yourself.
Will conquer all. Love
That's
will
correct.
conquer all, because we all are on a worldwide web stage. Meaning people are watching you, even if you're not watching them. If you're not consistently honest or faithful with what you're doing, people can tell. You won't be able to sustain it. Even when you dare to sustain something that is fake and phony, it's going to blow up someday.
Absolutely.
So my biggest warning, especially with this season that we're in, where we all need to be interdependent on ourselves, is let's show true love. Don't wish people bad. Don't plant evil.
No, don't even put the energy in that. Don't even put that energy in that, because you have to be careful what you speak and you thinking out of your mouth, because they will manifest. And you may think you're doing somebody harm, but you're actually, God will turn it into good for them and harmful for you. I like that power of the word love. And we're not talking about the lovey-dovey type of love and the infatuation type of love. We're talking about the type of love that keeps a roof over your head and food in your belly, that keeps you moving, motivated, and inspired. That's a powerful type of love. And that's the love that the world needs at this time. And speaking of what the world needs, you are known for talking about global transformational leadership. So why is the world in need of this global transformational leadership from your perspective?
Livingston Works supports businesses with leveraging supplier diversity programs by assessing government, public, and private sector contracting opportunities. Livingston Works does more than just access these opportunities. They help you get in, stay in, until you win, and winning becomes a habit for your business. If you're a business interested in making winning a habit, contact Tawanda Livingston today by visiting livingstonworks.com or email Tawanda at tawanda@livingstonworks.com.
You are known for talking about global transformational leadership.
Yes.
So why is the world in need of this global transformational leadership from your perspective?
As you know, the world that we're in right now, it's a global village. We used to say it as a cliche, but now than ever, look at how you and I didn't cause the coronavirus. We didn't cause the COVID-19. The whole world came out of flat shutdown. Every country in the world. The greatness of the one who owns the universe had to be shown. It was displayed in every single nation feeling that. So check it out. Now the internet is there. You are able to do so many things that maybe we couldn't do before. We have all been zoomed out, zoomed this, zoomed that. Life is still going on. Even as a result of this COVID, businesses are some businesses are still making money and so forth. So the transformational, global transformation, any leader, anyone that has a business, whether you're a coach, you're a business owner, if you're just thinking myopically about your four walls, your county, your state, your country, you're definitely not thinking. Even one country alone has millions of people. I mean, the whole population of the world, if you go online, whether it be LinkedIn, Facebook, all of this, these are your marketplace.
Yes.
So what we need to do is, what problem can we solve? What do we have in our hands that we can use to put that smile in somebody's face? There are people who are looking to be trained. They want what you have, even though you don't think you have it like that. They want a piece of it. Can you create a piece of it and let the world know it's there for you to do? We are working on putting some of our stuff online, online so that people can go there and learn, because you're only one person, you're 10 people, but the world needs you, and every word set at different times. There's time differential in every country. Some sleeping now, some are awake. So rather than making it think you are just one, do not think of yourself as one. And collaboration is now more than ever. What do you have?
Yes, absolutely.
We used to do it as Black people, barter, trade by barter, was something that we experienced, especially on the continent before we were brought here.
Yeah.
That is so needed now. What you have, I might not have. We can collaborate and then get the results and go global. When we package it, we can go to any Middle East. We can go to Africa. We can go to North America. We can go everywhere we want to go to. And at the confines of our home without getting on the plane, my sister. You don't even have to get on a plane. You don't even need a visa. Check that out.
Yes.
You don't have to worry, do I need a visa? Will they give me a visa? Who cares? The world is free right now. You can go to any country. But are you going to build yourself to be ready? And that's what we coach on. That is what we coach our clients on, being able to be that global transformational leader. In your area, every area is needed.
Absolutely.
For those of us who are here in America. America is the envy of all. Unfortunately, we're going through some of the turbulent times due to so many things that we don't need to go into right now. But the change is almost here. And this country is the envy of all. So as people that will be listening to us through this podcast, I challenge everyone to have a global mindset and knowing that, guess what? You don't need a visa right now. There's so many youth online who are so good and gifted. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to serve? Don't think about your pocket first, because some of these people don't have anything to give you, but they have the wisdom and the knowledge. That's what we do, being able to create that global transformational agenda. And we have a program called Bridge to Freedom. So we not only help you, we help you connect and engage and build network even in whatever countries of your interest, because that's what COVID even enabled it. People that have been striving to meet, COVID allowed them to be following everything I've been doing. You know, we were busy during the shutdown. I mean, there were so many things. That was my own way of giving back. There were too many negativity going around. So we were doing a series of communication live. And that attracted people that I needed to find. They found me.
Yeah.
Because they were following that. It was a captive audience in their home. So now that opened up access to be able to see what can we create to find solutions to people's problems.
And that's a powerful thing, that global transformational leadership. And not everybody is called to be a global transformational leader. And it is truly a mindset. And you have to grow into that capacity in order to be that, especially if you are from a capitalist society. If you're from a dog-eat-dog world, I have to hold you down in order for me to get up the ladder. You know, not everyone is able to migrate to that type of transformational leadership style. And in order to make real change, I mean really impactful change to the economy and politics and cultural on a local, regional, or national or global level. So it requires a certain amount of competencies in order to do that, and people have to be willing to step into those roles and to walk the talk, to be trust builders, to check their egos, right, and to be able to self-manage themselves and be able to take calculated risk and really discuss and be courageous about having conversations about difficult situations that are happening globally. Because if you are suffering from, as we know, if you're suffering from a pandemic in Europe, you're going to be suffering from a pandemic in America, Canada, Brazil, Africa. So we're all connected, and being able for us to come together as a world and try to deal with these issues, this is what the world is calling out for. It's calling out for people who want to transfer the world globally and be able to lead in that. I think that the most powerful thing that you stated, Dr. Remi, was collaboration. And again, collaboration is such a powerful tool. It is so underutilized. And I like to state that collaboration leads to increases in your life. It increases your network, your capacity, your capabilities, your customer, your income, your visibility, your footprint, your impact. And people underutilize that tool of collaboration. However, when you're a global transformational leader, you recognize the power of collaboration and bringing people together and being able to plan with people, not dictate to people, and then be able to work together with people in order to build the world that we need right now so that we can all live well, eat well, and play well. I think your consultancy and the work that your business is doing from a global transformational perspective is so needed right now. It is past needed. We needed this like yesterday. And so what would you say are some of the key characteristics of a global transformational leader that we need right now?
You said one of it, the mindset. They have to have a mindset to engage. Because global transformational leader is nothing that you go to school and say, I'm going to be trained like this. It starts with your mind. So your mind has to be right, and you have to have the openness to want to learn. More than ever, learning should be the priority of everyone. I don't care how old we are or what we think we've learned. There's some skills out there, and some of the skills are free online that we need to learn. And then to expand our network, find out what do we like to do? What is your passion? What do you love to do? Find ways to pay it forward.
Yes.
I know we're capitalists in nature, but trust me, when the people came and wanted to do business, they will come and give you something so they can have access to your resources. They came with religion, and they used that to find the choicy areas in Africa. And when they came back, They might not hit on the opportunities. So that is what needs to happen. You need to understand what exactly do you have in your hands. How can you begin, even remotely, to start doing something that you know you're passionate about? Use it as a test run, for the lack of better word, because that's where the capitalist has to disappear, because you might need to find a way to not put a fee yet, but they will help you test your model. And when your model is tested, you now have a product. A lot of activities that we've done, most of it we do not have people they're not paid activities, but they're quality activities. We've gotten sponsors here and there, but not always. But the content is always impeccable. What that did, it didn't put the money in our pocket yet, but what it did is to attract those who have the money, those who are leaders in those companies, to say, I might want to do this with this person. So when you do this, you need to build networks and test what you think you know. Don't keep it in your head. We all have too much in our head, and we just think we know everything. Offload what you know. Do a thinking retreat with yourself only. Have a blank piece of paper and write everything you think you know on one side, and what you don't know, put it on the other side. Get a way to offload what you think you know. When you know what you know, you'll be amazed about what you still don't know. I mean, I'm not going to be able to go back to school and start learning and doing all of this. There are some things that I need now, like the technology, to be more technologically savvy. That doesn't take you going to school for 4 years, but it takes you knowing you need it, and then you engage with the younger ones. This is where that intergenerational collaboration comes. I mean, they are just very smart people, but they want fair. They want fairness, and they want openness. So, and they want it to be a win for win. You will be.
Yeah, they're socially conscious, very socially conscious. The most social conscious generation that has come forth so far in America, and we definitely need global transformational leaders that can help build that pipeline of global leaders to make sure they are building the competencies they need in order to transform the world right from where they sit. And some of the most valuable aspects of a global transformational leader you possess, Dr. Remi. You are inspirational. You have proven throughout your career that you are adaptable. You're able to adapt to change fairly quickly, and you're able to inspire and motivate others to create meaningful change. And that is exactly what future generations need. We are today planting seeds for trees that will provide shade for future generations. It is time for us to deliver on those promises in doing that. And you are walking the talk, and that's why I love your positioning on global transformational leadership. Any thoughts about the characteristics of emotional intelligence and, more importantly, cultural intelligence? The power of those two together as a transformational leader, the emotional intelligence and cultural intelligence. We definitely need cultural intelligence. Let's talk about that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and definitely, I mean, we could start with the emotional intelligence. It's simply being that empathy, leader with empathy, whereby even though you don't agree with someone, you can still listen and understand and validate their feelings without necessarily agreeing or be quick to judge them because you already have your mind made up. But a great leader would try their very best to have that empathy. And also in the empathy comes cultural sensitivity. Everybody comes with a story. Everybody comes with a culture. It doesn't matter. It's not about which country you came from and where you didn't come. Culture, even homes that you grow in, homes that have culture in their homes. What you allow as cool might not be cool for me. So now we all come out to the marketplace, whether we're in school for our young leaders, they go to college, they mix with other people. We have to learn how to celebrate one another's diversity.
Absolutely.
I tell the young people that I mentor, some of them, their names are not a Janet Jackson or a Debbie Johnson. They're like a Remi Duyele, a name that maybe you can try to mispronounce. But I tell them, listen, your name has a meaning. So even when somebody can't pronounce it, don't take it personal. They might not know how. So I give people benefit of the doubt. Give you a chance. I mean, if you still don't say it right, it's okay. I know what my name means. My name means comfort. That's my name. So you can call it anyhow you want to call it. I just immediately, comfort comes to my mind. I'm like, it just means comfort. That's how I got by people in corporate America who maybe massacred my name and did it intentionally just to get you angry. So culturally, there are things that we need to learn. First thing is celebrating others, validating that other people exist. I know it's harder to do than as we're saying it, but it's a conscious effort in the mind. And I also think it's hard, but it's not as hard if you purpose in your mind, if you train your mind to be slow to anger and to be swift and not quickly say something. A lot of time I will listen a lot and I won't act. When I'm quiet, that means there's so much going in my head. And if I dare open my mouth, it won't be as good as I want it. So the Lord has enabled me to know how to be silent, to hold my peace. Yeah. So in my pregnant pauses, that's where my strength lies. Then you can't figure out, like, oh, Remi, what is it? Nothing will come out of my mouth. Then you are now worried. You're going helter-skelter worrying. What is she thinking? You can't know what I think till I let you know.
But you know what? I wanted to chime in about how you stated that, folks get upset when their names are mispronounced. And it's one thing, it's all the motivation behind the mispronunciation of a name. If they mispronounce your name because they're not familiar with that dialect, that's one thing. But when they mispronounce your name in order to be passive-aggressive, that's another thing. But even then, you must forgive and move on. But I think the key of a leader is that my role is to pronounce your name right. I care enough to learn from you how to pronounce your name correctly. Right. So there is no misunderstanding. And there's that caring, that's a difference. I care to know, as opposed to you need to get an American name. You need to be named, we're going to call you Rose, because I can't pronounce your, you know what I mean? So that type of cultural intelligence, because from my understanding is that cultural intelligence is a way that one can be understood and related to across cultures effectively and with ease. It's as if I've seen people move through countries and cultures effortlessly. And I know that takes practice, but it also takes the compassion and empathy and the willingness to learn about cultures to be able to do that. Because what that does is it helps to build up trust. Although I'm not a native of your country, because I care to learn about your cultural ways, and when I'm in your neighborhood or when you're in my neighborhood, respect those traditions, that helps build alliances, helps to build that network.
And what people are looking for is just the awareness. When I went to Ethiopia, I learned a few words. So when I was going to start my speaking, I greeted them. And when I finished, I greeted them in that word. That was all I said. But you should have seen the smiles all over the room. I made the effort to learn. So what I'm saying is that even these places that you go, they're not going to demand it. But it makes people to know you've made your effort, and a good leader or a good business person would want to engage and learn something, so they know, oh, you did prepare to come, and it would make the conversation, because we do cultural competency training, especially when people are going global. There's some basic things. They don't want you to be speaking fluently their own language, but know how to say good morning or good day or something, and thank you. And just slip it in when you're talking. They say, oh, wow, they smile. And they could say, oh, by the way, I'd like to learn more. And that's it. People just want to be validated.
And they should be validated, because there's no one, from my standpoint, there's no one culture above one another. I believe our great Creator created us how and where we need to be and the way we need to be. And there's power in our differences. There's power in our cultural differences. And until we collaborate on those powers, we're not going to really be successful as human beings on this earth. Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is painful, and ignorance is costly. So the quicker we're able to educate, bring people awareness, and more importantly, the action behind that awareness to bear, so that we can make the impact, the changes that we need on a socio-economic, political platform, an emotional platform for people. We will not be able to move until we respect each other at that level. So the power of cultural intelligence, emotional intelligence, being a global transformational leader. It's not people used to, in the 80s and 90s, they would talk about transformational leadership, and we're now talking about global transformational leadership, and we're behind the curve.
The quick game changer to making that happen is this cultural awareness, cultural competency, emotional intelligence. Because when people do business with people they like and trust, they're not just going to do business with you because you're that and you're this. There's they will smile at you and they will waste your time a few times. But if they know that there's a genuineness in what you're doing, they will open up. And that's where we need to think about this. Our communities need that economic understanding of how do we penetrate to the opportunities within the communities. A lot of times you post things that you share with us to help our community come back up. My question is, how many of us can take advantage of it? How many of us know how to take advantage? And how many of us know how to act when we don't take advantage of it? But those things are important, and those things are what will help us, because the resources need to be in our hands. Just like the Jewish people, we need to be able to create our own. The bank that did the best and the most work, and I read this, don't quote me on this, they said that the black banks did more work during the COVID and the PPP loans. I mean, I don't want to mention the bank's name, but they were doing more work. They gave out more loans because they could feel the pain of a business losing a business, because they had that cultural competency of their community. So they were able to say, okay, now if it's 5 o'clock, I don't have to go home. I'm sure they had to work some weekends and long hours and making sure that they meet the deadline. Some other banks that were bigger, we won't mention their names, they didn't even see the value in it. They didn't see the urgency. That is where the importance of cultural awareness and your awareness
and being in tune. Having your finger on the pulse, having that cultural competence, that cultural intelligence, because just like the economic standpoint at this time, the PPP loans and the EIDL and all of this relief for small businesses was not just about helping small businesses that were on Main Street, but the ones that were off of Main Street. It was about helping those shadow economies that help build our economies of scale. So, and people did not see the value of barbershops or the salons or the corner convenience stores. Those individual businesses needed loans. They needed grants in order to sustain themselves. And to be turned away by formal banks is the bank, again, slamming the door in minority small businesses, underserved communities, and women businesses. Again, what we've already experienced through our economies, these people have been marginalized, and the businesses that have been marginalized because of the constructs that have been put in place by formal bank measures, and that played out in this COVID situation. But there were still some voices that refused to be silenced, that was determined to bring the money to where it needs to be. And henceforth, corporate America stepping up, private sector, nonprofits, local organizations coming together and saying, look, we need to get money to the businesses, the small businesses that really need it. Now, has everyone gotten what they need? Absolutely not. But what COVID did reveal to us is what I already know, being in this area of supplier diversity and diversity, equity, and inclusion, is that minorities and women continually are left out of or left back or held back from getting access to reliable capital to infuse in their business to help drive their business, create jobs, and sustain their communities.
Absolutely. And we have to keep doing that. Keep doing that. That awareness is going to keep us sharing, caring, and returning. We're going to keep sharing, earning, sharing, and returning. And that's what will help us to stabilize our economy, especially.
And what I want to make sure that folks leave this conversation with is that one thing you stated earlier is having accountability for yourself. You have the power to create and dominate and to brilliantly shine because the Creator put that all in us. We just need to collaborate more so we can build our ecosystem, our financial ecosystem, business systems, and social systems, health systems that we need for all of us to rise.
Absolutely. I mean, you just stated it very well. I mean, we have to keep going. We have to keep marching on and not holding back and pointing fingers, forgiving, moving on, and just let be and build and failing forward and fail forward. When you fail forward, you know that at least you've checked it off, and then you're moving forward. So it means that you're not stuck. When you're not stuck at your failure, that's a process that you learn. And that's going to help you rebound stronger. And you would know how to better do whatever you did before that caused that failing forward. And then, of course, you pay it forward, making sure you're earning, you're sharing with other people, you're teaching them. You're not waiting to make the millions before you make your impact. Your impact could just be speaking a word to somebody on a routine basis, getting a group of people together, put them on Zoom call, talk to them, give them words of wisdom for 15, 30 minutes. We do strategy calls. And most of the time, when you just talk to someone for 30 minutes, the clarity they get is amazing. Of course, they won't always be able to do what they need to do right away, but it gives them clarity, and they're going to come back and see how you can leverage and help them to get to that next level. Because we've got to be our sisters' keepers. We've got to be our brothers' keepers. This is the season for that.
Yes,
we
absolutely.
are all joined by the hip. There's no other way to say it. We're joined by the hips, and we just need to work together. There is abundance out there for all of us. I see it.
Absolutely.
I see it. Absolutely. I see possibilities around us. But we just have to dare to start. Do it afraid, like one of my mentors would say. Let's do it afraid and let's ask for help. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. Raise your hand and ask for help and see what will happen.
Actually a sign of strength when you're able to ask for help. Absolutely. Absolutely. So this has been a very powerful conversation, and I thank you for being so vulnerable and transparent in your views and perspectives and being able to share openly with the listeners about what they can do to be brilliantly broken. What would be the call to action you would ask our listeners from your standpoint and from your business? What would you like them to do as a result of listening to our conversation this evening?
My call to action will be a few, but I'm going to pick on the ones that I know it's so that they can do right away. You need people in your life to be successful. You have to be accountable to specific people. And do not disconnect and get honest. When you get honest feedback, don't disconnect. Because people will give you feedback. Not all of them will be malicious. And be ready to be accountable to someone. In addition to God Almighty, you need a physical person who can dare to speak truth to power. Disengage from people that are yes people. Whatever you say, they don't see anything wrong in it. Be mindful of that. And stay purposeful. If you don't know it yet, you will know it. When you know it, stay in your lane. And as I say, stay in your lane, there are other things that you will be doing that will be impacting life. Your lane is to develop. Like my lane is developmental. So if you say, what do? I can't say, I do this, I do that. I'm developmental, global transformational development. That is my goal. I develop with financing. I develop human capital and so on and so forth. So what is your lane? And when you have identified your lane, you will have the strength. Don't ask me where it will come from. Mine comes from God. You will never have a day in your life that you will feel overwhelmed and tired and hopeless. The tired moments will come, and once you rest it up, you're ready to go. But you won't be frustrated with distractors because there's so many out there. Some people are frustrated because they cannot lift themselves out of this saga that we're all in. All this COVID-19 is still emotional to some people. They've lost loved ones, so they are down. Be careful that people pull you down with them. We need a lot of people rising, not downing.
Yes.
We cannot afford to be going down. We have to rise for our children, for our future.
Absolutely.
And that will be my call to action.
That is awesome. Gems of greatness from Dr. Remi. And I truly believe that, as you stated, we need to rise above. We need to elevate our own perspective so we can elevate others' perspective. And it definitely gives you a different view on your endless possibilities on this side of heaven. Now, tell us a little bit before we go about any projects or initiatives or programs that we can support you on that you're currently working on, Dr. Remi.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. We have the Bridge to Freedom Academy. That's our coaching, global transformational coaching program that we do have that are available for those who really want to take this journey to that next level, who needs that accountability partner that can help them to get unstuck and help them understand the power of cultural efficacy in what they do to leverage this global market that's so wide open for you and I. And clearly speaking, it's just so many things happening. I'm a speaker, so I do keynote speaking and I wear a few hats, but all in line with my passion.
How can they connect with you?
Sure. You can reach us at remispeaks.com or info@remispeaks.com. Or they can reach out to you. I'm sure if you reach out to the podcaster, she knows where to find us. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm very grateful and honored. And we wish you very many more successes in all that you do. And thanks for what you do for the community. You are one of our gems in our community. And I'm so honored that I know someone like you in my network. God bless you and your team.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Remi, for such a powerful testimony and really providing a true roadmap so that others can reach their destination. You are truly a woman of greatness and influence. We salute you, we see you, and we are celebrating you every day in everything that we do. Thank you for being on Broken Brilliance, and hopefully our listeners with this particular podcast has also been brilliantly broken.
Thank you for tuning in to the Broken Brilliance podcast with your host, Tawanda Livingston, CEO of Livingston Works, for your emotional, mental, and business tune-ups. Support our guest speakers by following them on social media, visiting their websites, and purchasing their goods or services. You've been inspired, you've been motivated, you've been activated to move differently in your business and life with unwavering expectations. It's your time to shine. Arrest and cancel self-sabotage, self-defeat, self-hate, and every negative thought, and continuously unlock your purpose, passion, and possibilities. You have been equipped with an arsenal of inspiration and motivation to be an overcomer, a conqueror, an achiever, because you, my friend, are brilliantly broken. Remember to like, share, and tune into the next episode of Broken Brilliance.